Hi, it's Hazel. Welcome to my channel, Hazel and Aka Design. I'm so glad you're here. This is going to be a quick video. It's mostly show and tell, but I did leave a couple of these guys to work on with you as well. Now, a lot of us spend a great deal of time thrifting, hopefully not too much money thrifting. And one of the things that is popular with a lot of us are handmade or even, I guess, frankly, machine-made linens that have motifs that we can use. So a long time ago, probably 2 years ago now, I took apart what was it? I think it was a tablecloth that had these different colored flowers on them. And the, I should probably trim some of these threads. So I thought, I've been storing them for quite a long time. It's time I did something with them. So, I guess before spreading them out, I should say what I'm doing here. So basically, what I've done a variety of things. Cardstock, music paper, scrapbooking paper scrap, and then the little embroidered piece. Now, it must have been done by machine really quite nicely because in a lot of cases it was hard to tell which was the right side. So I used Aleene's tacky glue. I have, it's not my favorite, but for this purpose, it seemed to be perfect. It didn't bleed, it wasn't too thick, it wasn't too runny. So what I would, well, I'll show you when I demo it, but basically I just sort of dabbed it on in a few places and then used this little craft squeegee to spread it around so that there wouldn't be any bleeding. But I'll show you that in a minute. So basically just, I guess now that I've done the crazy stitching, if I wanted it to actually be able to be written on, I would need to then cover it with, it would still be fairly lumpy, but I would need to cover it with some paper. So that's one. Now this one, I used my, and you can see, didn't quite catch it over here. I used my 3-inch circle punch to cut out this pink piece of, and it's not very heavy, scrapbooking paper. What I'll have to do, maybe I should do that right now, is just sort of put some art glitter glue and maybe try to pull this over a bit so that it hopefully doesn't distort the embroidery, but will help this hold better. Now, of course, when this gets glued down, it will get sealed into place as well. I just thought that was kind of cute in that it was a different. Now, I suppose if I would have taken the time to see if I had dies, the nesting dies, then it would be easier to find the right thing. But when you're big, like a 2-inch punch would have been far too small. I wouldn't have been able to capture the whole embroidery piece. So I did the best I could. Now this was the first one that I had just glued down to some scrap cardboard. So it's kind of off center because I'm thinking this would be trimmed. I didn't leave myself much room here, did I? Anyway, this will obviously have to be glued down to something else. This was another, this is the circle from here. So of course we can't waste that. So on this one, I just used a bit of tissue paper and part of I have more, well, See, this is another one that I sort of fussy cut around. And what I did, because you can see that this phrase, which is good, like when you want a little fringy look, I mean, it works great. But obviously don't want that on something like this. So I had just outlined the cut edge with my art glitter glue. It dries clear and hard, but I also found my fray check, and as it turns out, I didn't need to use it. I don't even know if this is really good or not. It says, so I just don't know how easy this would be to work, because it's got a fairly, I mean, that's a fairly big opening there. But it does say that if you, it says to test it in an inconspicuous area and to remove unwanted spots, treat with rubbing alcohol. And I'm thinking, well, geez, if it leaves stains, maybe I could just skip the remedial part and use something that I know works. So art glitter glue. These two were probably the smallest ones I had. So by doing all of this, I was able to use up a bunch of cardstock, and you can see that the early ones were kind of fairly plain. Just pick a cardstock that kind of looked half decent with the color combination. And I have to say, you know, I like these. I think they're well done, but you know, some of the color combinations are a bit not my cup of tea. So far, I just I just finished doing the stitching, because as you know, I can't pause my video, so I have to do it this way. Anyway, I've left these long tails, so I guess we'll see if they survive or not. Now, because you'll see some staining here, and that's actually because I had done some coffee or tea staining, you know, many moons ago. This is just a piece of lightweight 6x6 card. I've had it forever because it has giraffes and elephants on it, but you would never know that. So I figured green is a pretty safe bet with any floral. On this one, I used cardstock, and this is napkin on some awful scrapbooking paper. So you can see there's a C and there's an H. So it had these alphabets scattered all over. I don't know what that is. So the napkin helped disguise that. And then on this one, I did something slightly different in that my intention here is to have this be a pocket. But let's just see here. I also just I didn't even glue it. I just sewed it around the three sides so that it could be a pocket. And then this was one of the early ones I did. You can see I left a lot more of the fabric there. And if you saw my little pile of scraps, you would see how many times I trimmed things to get it smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. So these, of course, won't go in the garbage. Well, maybe those should. They won't go in the garbage. They will be worked into snippet rolls, or not snippet rolls. What do you call them? Clusters. And some of them do still have, you know, more of the staining on them. So that'll be a different look. So on this one, again, cardstock, some old book page with some pretty dramatic size, a font, and a nice color. Thought it worked well with the stained part. So, of course, all of these still will receive additional decorating. So that could be, you know, maybe gems or postage stamps or labels, or who knows what will happen when the spirit moves me. So let's see what I have. I left only 2 to do with you, because you know, sometimes I get over ambitious with thinking I'm going to demo something, and then it takes, you know, the videos just go. What does Kim Newberg say? if it gets to be an hour or more, it's a movie, and you need popcorn and potty breaks and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's clever, but hey, sometimes stuff happens. So this is just one of those books that has all the gorgeous numbers and columns and rows, and I think it might have been something to do with latitude and longitude or something like that. You know, totally beyond my comprehension. But so anyway, just a glue stick. And in this case, oops, there is just a wee bit of the background color showing. I thought that blue was pretty nice, although it has nothing to do with this print. This was a misprint on a digital. You know, one of those where you get where one of the nozzles is, you get the lines. So we can smack that down here, cover most of it up, and no one will be the wiser. Okay, so I'll show you what I do with the tacky. And I'm just going to offset this a bit because we do want a bit of the script to show. And we also want to leave room maybe to, I was going to say drill a hole, punch a hole and add, you know, what are those things called? You know. I can almost see my sign over there, bulb pin. So I just, well, I guess that was more spreading than, than dabbing. And then I just take my little thing here. And the nice part about using these silicone tools is that they don't, I mean, they're so easy to clean. You know, in no time at all, it'll be dry on there. You just pick it off and no fuss, no muss. And that, no doubt, I will take these last two to the sewing machine as well when I'm done. So, you know, that's the added assurance that the fabric won't lift. Although I must say, that seems to be a pretty good choice for glue in this particular thing. Okay, so, oh, and this time I was clever enough to do my corner rounding. No, I wasn't. I wasn't that clever. In most of these cases, well, I was able to do them all, but frankly, it wasn't that easy when you've got some bulk and this wants to turn back. So if you like the rounded corner look, best to do it ahead of time before the gluing rather than after. Just a word to the wise. And of course, because I'm not a real inker, I don't bother with that unless I really feel that I must. So I will, just as I'm finishing up here, I will remind you that there is an open collab that I hope you jump on board with. It's called hashtag Pick a Pocket. That is the brainchild of my buddy Teresa DeFredo. I think it's clever. And I love alliteration, so we know that. And hopefully you will jump on board, make a video or do a post on Instagram, tag me, or use my at Hazel and Aka channel thing so I know what's happening. And also tag a couple of people. What are we going to do? So that, oh, you know, this one might be a good one to use as a pocket too. That could be cute. So actually I don't have to do anything other than hold this in place till I sew it. So yeah, there's that. I would also invite you to check out my coffee shop and everything. I'm consistent across all the platforms. Hazel and Aka Design. So if you can Remember that much, you've broken the code. So, yeah, the coffee shop has a few free digital. Oh my goodness, I'm so behind in scanning and doing digitals. It is pathetic. Pathetic, I tell you. Anyway, so there are a few free digitals there. There's my monthly subscription-based thing called Words and Pictures. It's basically a Word document that has a whole bunch of quotes or inspirational things. I did a joke on one of the, well, it was more than just a joke, but anyway, a joke. And the picture part of the thing is a reproduction of one of my paintings or doodles or, you know, watercolors, acrylic, whatever. So gives you a little chance to have a piece of some original art. Okay, so this is the output today. I'm so glad that I dealt with these things. And of course, there's always more where that came from. I will show you what's lurking here in the background. And that is one of 2 sleeves that I salvaged from like a peasant type blouse, you know, really thin. The kind of stuff we're going to all be wanting to wear when it gets to be, well, here, you know, plus 30 Celsius, or where you live, 80s, 90s, 100s. Frankly, can't imagine that. So, you know, obviously for something this big, a person will need a different sort of idea. So still pondering that, I suppose. I mean, obviously I would cut off this, you know, and maybe make it narrower. So that could be like actually a signature page, to be honest. Or it could be glued to something and actually maybe like a white file folder or something, or white cardstock, and have it become just a page, you know, give it a little more stability. So I do have many more of these kinds of things to work on. And one of these days we'll do another video that will show different options for different kinds of things. So what characterizes these is the fact that they are small, isolated motifs. Like there was a lot of space between, so I think they were, or maybe that's just how I cut it. You know, there was probably 3 or 4 inches between each of these flowers. So obviously far too far apart to really get much use out of them unless you use them singly. Again, whatever you decide to do after you've mounted them is totally, you know, only limited by your imagination. So once I get these done, I will be posting. I'm trying to be more vigilant, diligent, regular about posting things on Instagram. My goodness, I even put something on my community tab on my YouTube channel, and I put an image on my coffee shop. So like, will wonders never cease? Watch out, internet world, because hey, I've awakened. Anyway, guys, I will let you go. I hope that if you have some of these things that you've been, you know, wondering what to do or hesitating to cut into, that this makes you want to pull out your good fabric scissors and either do some fussy cutting or do as I've done here with the little frayed edges, or just do something. Please do something. Okay, guys, thank you, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.